This tutorial is going to cover the PHP post method that is used to transfer data that is submitted into a form from one page to another. Okay, to show you an example of a form that is using the post method, I have this form already set up. Okay, now it has two input boxes, the first one and the second one, and then a submit button. And the page itself is post page 1.php, and this page, if it doesn't include any PHP code, then it doesn't have to have the PHP extension. It can have an HTML extension. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to submit this form without entering information so that you can see what happens. Okay, so I'm taken to the next page, which is post page 2.php, and because this page has PHP code within the page, it has to have the PHP extension. Now notice that as compared to the get method, there is now the information that is submitted uh, over the pages is not displayed in the URL box, and this here is simply text, and because I didn't enter information into the form and then submit it, there is no information that is displayed. Now I'm going to enter some information for the name field and for the email field, and I'm going to press the submit button, and again it takes me to the second page. Now again, the text my name and the text my email, and because the information that I entered was my name for the name input box and my email at mysite.com for the email input box, that is what is displayed. And I'll show you how this is done using actual code. Okay, so right here I have the two files that I'm going to upload to the website so that you can see how it's done. Okay, right now I have a bare bones HTML page. Now I've named this PHP post 1.php, and then now I'm going to create the form. Now the action attribute is going to take me to the second page, which is the page that has the PHP code, and that page is going to process the information that is submitted. And a second page is going to be named PHP post 2.php, and I'm going to put it in the PHP folder. Okay, so to work on the form, again, I'm going to put this in the PHP folder, and the file is going to be PHP post 2.php. And the method that I use in this case is going to be post. Now I have the text name so they can know what field is for what, and then the first input field is going to be created using the input tag, and it is a self-enclosing tag, so I'll put a space / and then I close it to make it HTML compliant, and then the type attribute is used within the tag with the value of text, and that is so that you can see the information that is being entered into the input field. And then now the name that I'm going to assign, the name value that I'm going to assign to this to the information that is entered into this field is going to be, in this case, username. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the email input field. Now to create the submit button, I use the input tag. Again, I close it, and then I use the type attribute, and then the value for the submit button is simply submit. Now I'm going to save this. Now I'm going to go work on the page to which this data is going to be transferred, which is php post2.php, and here it goes. Okay, now notice how the information that is going to be transferred correlates from the first page to the second page. Now the name given to the first input field data is username, and the name given to the second input field data is email. So I'm going to do this right here, username, and because the data is being transferred using the post method, I'm going to type $, underscore, and in capital letters the word post, and then I'm going to close the value which I want it to get, which in this case is username. I'm going to close that in square brackets, and I'm also going to put uh, the value name in quotes, which can be either single or double quotes. And I'm gonna now, to make this information easier to work with, I'm gonna create a variable, which in this case is the variable is named username, and I'm gonna put this information inside this variable, which is done just like that. And I'm gonna do the same thing for the email value. Now what I'm doing here is I'm telling PHP, I'm giving PHP a conditional statement. I'm using the if statement in this case. Now this says if the submit button is pressed, you execute whatever code is in between these curly braces. And the code that I want to be executed is I want the username and the email to be displayed on the web page. I want 2 lines, so I'm going to create, in this case, 2 echo statements. The first line is going to say my name is, and I want this information, and because this username this variable called username is holding this information, I'm going to include this variable right here. And I'm going to include a break tag. So I can put another line, and the second line is going to say my email is, and I'm going to, again, I want the email, so I'm going to include the variable called email, so I can have whatever email that they input into the form. Now I'm going to save this, and I'm going to upload these files. Again, I'm going to upload these files to the PHP folder, and the first file is PHP post1. It's uploaded, and the second file is going to be PHP post2, and it's uploaded. So I'm going to go to my website. I'm going to go to the PHP folder. I'm going to go to the first first file, the first web page, which again contains the form, again name, email, and the submit button. And again, I'm going to press the submit button without entering information. And notice that there is no information displayed because I didn't enter any information. And again, no information besides the web page itself is displayed in the URL box. Okay, so I'm going to enter some information into the fields and submit the button and press the submit button, and now there it goes, the text on both lines and then the information which I entered, and this covers the PHP post method.